For this week's grammar refresher, we're going to be taking a look at the 4 different types of sentence structure. The first one, the easiest one to identify probably, is the simple sentence. The simple sentence is a sentence with an independent clause and no dependent clauses. It has one subject and one predicate. The example, Perry and Sue went to the store. We have a compound subject, but it still counts as one subject because we don't have any dependent clauses, and we don't have anything extra like an interjection or a conjunction or anything to combine two sentences anyway. So Perry and Sue is considered one subject, even though it's a compound subject. And then our predicate is went to the store. Subject, one predicate equals a simple sentence. Compound sentence is the next type of sentence, and it is a sentence with multiple independent clauses and no dependent clauses. Perry bought oranges. We have Perry as our subject, bought oranges as our predicate. Sue bought apples. Sue is our subject, bought apples is our predicate. That combined with a conjunction means that we have a compound sentence. We have two simple sentences combined with a conjunction. Sometimes it's combined with a semicolon. But if you have two simple sentences strung together with a tool of some sort, a conjunction or a piece of punctuation that's appropriate, then you have a compound sentence. The third type is a complex sentence. This is a sentence that has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Those subordinate or dependent clauses usually have a conjunction that makes them dependent or subordinate on the remainder of the sentence. It can't stand by itself. After school is your dependent clause. I could not come up to you and say after school and have a period there. There is no subject, there is no verb. It is a dependent clause. So we have our independent clause, Sue went to track practice. That can stand alone. We have Sue as our subject, went to track practice as our predicate. If we string the dependent clause with the independent clause, then we have a complex sentence. You can have as many dependent clauses as you want, as long as it's punctuated correctly and has a coherent thought in a complex sentence. Last but not least, definitely not because they're usually the longest, are compound complex sentences, which is a morph of compound sentences and complex sentences. This is a sentence with multiple independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. So I have two independent clauses here. Sue went to track practice. Perry went to football practice. Each of those has one subject and one predicate. We have a conjunction that combines the two simple sentences. And then we have a dependent clause tacked onto the front, after school. In this one, you can have as many simple sentences and as many dependent clauses as you want, just as long as it's punctuated correctly and includes conjunctions when needed. These are longer sentences most of the time because there has to be so much involved in the sentence in order for it to be compound complex. When you are writing an essay or a narrative or any type of formal writing whatsoever, the goal is to vary your sentence structure types. So it's not to write an essay with all simple sentences. It's definitely not to write an essay with all compound complex sentences. You should have a good mix of each of the 4 types of sentences in your writing.